So now that you've had the tutorial on pine, I'm going to give you a tutorial on old oak. Old oak and old pine are extremely different, and old pine is very different than new pine. Here we have an example of the center cut wood that I just showed you, and smooth old oak. Now this old oak piece has not had any finish on it, but again, I'm going to show you what happens when I put water on it. Old oak is lighter and has less yellows than does the pine. That's never going to change in the finishing process. In the pine, you are going to get yellows. This is southern yellow pine. The oak is white oak, and it will always be a little bit browner when you apply even the lightest shade. Again, the grain pattern is very different. It's very dissimilar than the new oak that you'd see in the stores. The biggest distinctions that you will notice is that old oak has many fewer knots than old pine does. It's just about in regards to the way that the limbs grew from the tree. Anywhere you see a knot is where a limb had previously grown on this particular tree. This is a piece of old oak in our brown cherry finish. Again, it's very smooth texture, but you can see how few knots there are in this particular piece. Old oak is extremely hard and therefore never got the damage that the old pine would have gotten as it aged. This is a very good representation of what a medium textured old oak piece would look like. In this particular situation, we've only clear coated it. It has no added color to it, but as you can see, when we apply the clear coat, so many different colors of the wood pop through that you didn't see previously. This is a very good representation of what an old oak bench might look like versus an old pine, very rustic bench. Old oak, seen here, in its most rustic forms, may have a lot of these old saw marks. These were the circular saw marks that the people in the mill would have used 100+ years ago. Again, the gray areas that you see is all about weathering. When we sand down, we make sure if you wanted it to stay very rustic that we don't sand all that off. The more we sand, the cleaner your wood is going to be. This is the sample of old pine, very rustic. As you can see, there are going to be noticeable differences. Old oak is extremely heavy. This bench probably weighs 3 times the amount that 2-inch thick old pine bench weighs.